Okay, well, yeah, anyways, about that. So I'm going to quickly go over a few character, mm, well, build, I guess this is a strong way of putting it, but, setups for bridge officers. I've been doing this for all of my characters, and I've done most of them. The last one I did one of these discussion videos for was Zedakek. Okay, that's a really cool looking twist on the 7 of 9 outfit. I like that. Anyways, so I'm just going to look at the um, setups. I don't remember why I'm using a white 13 motion cell. This, just basic stuff for a rather weird build. Anyway, so ground assault team: Tavrel, 4 of 6, Elisa Flores, and Dita. This is a rather quirky combination of tutorial bridge officers and account unlock bridge officers. So we have Dita, who is currently wearing the Marquee Visionary set. Well, 3 of the 4 pieces, because even if you make them elite, bridge officers still can't use kit modules. Yeah. Oh, and speaking of the 7 of 9 outfit, yeah, I had fun with that on these characters. 7 of 9 outfit with lots of accessories, including the Borg face thingies. I decided that they actually did fit the theme of these outfits. Look kind of like you have like a mask and stuff. I wish I had a hat option for this, like a like a beret kind of hat, but okay. So this is Dita, one of the Delta Operations Intel bridge officer. Traits: she has leadership because she's human, and almost all humans have leadership. It's pretty simple and straightforward. This is team exploit damage is nice, except that it's exploit damage. You have to actually use exploits. But whatever. Bonus critical hit and exposed chance is also nice, but that's just on her. Also, I think all of these actually only apply to weapons, so kit modules or skills that are equivalent to kit modules don't actually count. Frictionless particle grenade. It's a damage resistance rating penalty ability, so mixing it with other things that actually do damage is nice. Resonant Tachyon stream. Bridge officers do tend to waste this because they zap everything with it. However, more often than not, they're going to zap something that actually has a shield. So, yeah. It gives you shields, gives you a shield resistance bonus, and gives the enemy shield damage. Depending on the rank of the enemy, this might not even be like a quarter of their shield, though. Not one of the most powerful abilities in the game. It's one of those things that's useful for the utility aspect of it actually giving you shield regeneration. That's what makes it good. Because it's kind of sort of like a shield refill ability that any Intel officer can use, which is normally something that you have stuck to engineers. And she's not a ninja. Corrosive grenade. I forget. I think this is Colony. I think you have to get this from the Kintari bridge officer manuals vendor. And then we have a standard tripwire drone. Note, this is not the ability she came with. She came with Vein Disintegration. Vein Disintegration is pretty lame. See, because the whole thing of like reset threat and all of these special bonuses, bridge officers don't know how to use this. Bridge officers will just spam this and waste it. And I think that's one of the things I really should have fixed on Slarg's team. That one of the things I noticed on Slarg's team when I was going back and doing the video was that Slarg's team has 2 people with Vein Disintegration. I was really, really sleepy when I was looking over Slarg's team last time and didn't fix that. Really should have. Anyway. Honestly, a lot of my bridge officers are just like whatever I felt like using. I didn't actually spend a whole lot of effort on most of them to give them good ground skill setups because I don't need it. Anyway, though, moving on. Dita's kind of good. So let's go with Elisa Flores, the new Federation tutorial tactical bridge officer, who is your first bridge officer you get given as part of the tutorial. As it turns out, you can actually claim certain of the account unlock bridge officers, so you can actually have her as like your second or third or whatever. I do recall someone coming up with a weird exploit that would allow him to actually force Tovin Kev to be put into the inactive roster and thus never commissioned properly by claiming a whole bunch of account unlock bridge officers before acquiring Tovin Kev. Okay then. So, Elisa Flores, what does she have? Now, okay, this is one of those where there are several things in here that are kind of dumb, as is rank 3 lunge. You know, I think ambush would actually be better on her. Actually, hang on a second. Hate that. Anyway, R&D. So, officer training. I can do miracle, okay? Stabilizing resonance beam, which, by the way, these are all bound to character run pickup, because so don't bother with that. Ambush. No, I don't have the ability to train ambush. Really? Oh, okay, that's why. See how all of the green dots are blinking? That means I haven't actually chosen any of those. So, Smoke Grenade 3, which sucks. Photon Grenade 3, which is nearly useless. Okay, granted, it is a damaging ability, but quite frankly, I don't like either one of those. Device expertise is one of those things that gets weird because of the fact that this is one of the only ways you can upgrade your device mastery. Willpower, I mean, you can get that as armor facts or several things, honestly. I'm not going to bother with this. Actually, you know what? Hold on. I will go collect the device entries because I don't really need them. Full power. Anyways, sweeping strikes or lunge. Quite frankly, I hate sweeping strikes. Lunge 3 is actually useful. Why do I dislike sweeping strikes? Because of the fact that if you're going to do a melee bridge officer, give them a melee weapon. If they have a melee weapon, sweeping strikes is useless. Improved crouch, hate it. Improved aim, hate that too. Suppressing fire or target optics. Worry about that later. You know, I'm not sure if that applies to my bridge officers or just me. I think it's just me. This is one of those things that's a bit weird. It's like get a run speed bonus or damage resistance penalty. Honestly, I think the damage resistance penalty is better. Because unless you really, really need to chase enemies while melee attacking them, who cares? Okay, stun grenade or fire on my mark. I don't want to give either of those abilities to bridge officers because fire on my mark, the bridge officer will waste it because they just target a random enemy with it and not an enemy that you actually need to use it on. And stun grenade, I'm just not going to give them a stun grenade. Seriously, it's like, no, I'd rather give them a photon grenade because that does more damage and then the enemy's dead. They don't need to worry about whether they're stunned. Anyways. Improve flank resistance, improve flank damage. Honestly, getting reliable flank damage is too annoying for me to care. Improve flank resistance, though, it's like I just don't take flank damage as often or as much. Sure. Stealth module or Overwatch 3. Yeah. You know, I'm just going to go with offense mastery because defense mastery is actually kind of weak sauce. Offense mastery is also weak sauce, but more useful. So, what skill was it that I wanted to give Elisa Flores? Ambush. I wanted to give her a better version of ambush. What did I not see here? Ambush. Photon grenade. Sweeping strikes and lunge. And smoke grenade. Suppressing fire and target optics. Stun grenade and fire on my mark. Stealth module and Overwatch. Yeah. Ambush isn't here. Well, since this is Deep Space Nine, I can just take a elevator to Ops. This is not. It's not. All right, where's the elevator? I think that's Ops. There is a bridge officer manual vendor here, so I can see what we have. The bridge officer manual vendor. For tactical ground that are... Oh, I see. This just lists Ambush 1. Huh. Maybe you can't get a higher version of Ambush. Whatever, fine. I will have her just use this ambush thing. Yes, she has a grenade. To be quite honest, there's really not a huge number of instant level abilities for bridge officers that are actually worth having. So, target optics. All damage, all critical severity. Cool. Removes all debuffs, bonus damage, and has a small chance of applying an exposed to enemies. Okay. I mean, this is a character... No, wait, no. Dita was the one that has a whole bunch of stuff related to exposed exploit. So giving her the battle strategies things might actually be a really good idea. Thing is, though, this doesn't actually have a high chance of applying an expose to your enemy, so why bother? Also, 50-second cooldown. 45-second, 16 seconds, 50 seconds. This does actually give this bridge officer a pretty hefty offensive ability. Now, using the Overwatch instead of the thing on this one, does she have an exploit weapon? I don't remember that part. It doesn't say it's an exploit attack, so I'm going to assume it's not. You know, giving her the Kumarki Visionary thing when she has traits that are tied to the expose exploit mechanic, maybe not the best option. Yeah, as is her. I think 3 of her ground traits are functionally useless, and oh wait, that's basically all of her traits. Well. Man, I really don't feel like tinkering with that. Well, that's something to pay attention. Think about later, I suppose. Or just not think about it at all. Oh yeah, also, this is the Intel uniform eye attachment. I found that it works really, really nicely with the Borg face pieces. And, you know, coloring stuff so that it kind of sort of matches the armor stuff. Alright, so 4 of 6. Traits. It's a Borg. Okay, remember what I was saying on the previous one about superior efficiency? Yeah, this is what she comes with. Efficient. If you upgrade her to Elite, this becomes superior efficiency. Okay, so it is superior Borg nanites by default. Okay, cool. I wasn't sure about that. Neuroblast, yeah. The stun and expose and stuff is it's okay. The thing with this though is that if I remember right, the cooldown on this is actually annoyingly long. The interesting thing about this though is that unlike most abilities that involve firing an electric zappy thing at an enemy, this fires it from your left hand, not your right. And while it says it's a melee hold and stun, it's actually got something like a 15-meter range. It's not a melee range ability. It's not a long-range ability, by any stretch of the imagination, but it's not a melee range ability. Or at least the player version isn't. I'm not sure about the bridge officer version. And I've seen her doing the animation, though, so... Anyways, so, her ground kit. This is an episode weapon. This is an episode shield. This is the anti-Davidian shield from the Davidian story arc. This is the Lurka armor, because why not? How many EV suits? If I do have any spare EV suits, they're on a different bridge officer. I could look at that, or not, because I don't care. Anyway, so, skills. These are things I like putting on bridge officers, because they're team buffs. And your bridge officers will just spam them whenever they're not on cooldown. And honestly, for team buffs, that works great. And these have a relatively short recharge time. So, while it stays up for 5 seconds every however many, your bridge officers can actually get to a your bridge officers will have a reasonable amount of uptime for this. And so take cover, same deal. 25-second recharge, which is slightly longer, but it lasts longer. And, shield generator and quantum mortar. I could give her a quantum mortar 3 if I had one of my engineer characters make the module. You don't feel like going to that much work right now. I'd have to switch characters because this is a tactical character. Alrighty then. So, to Bro. Yeah, I decided to have each of them wear a different face. This one, if not for the fact that there's that tube sticking out of your face going into your scalp, you could actually use this one as an opera mask almost. Oh, and for funsies, I decided to give her an eye patch on her left eye just to make it look weird. Because combining the eye patch with the face mask thing actually kind of sort of hides the fact that it's an eye patch and makes it look like a some sort of Borg prosthetic. Because the eyepieces that come with this face mask are all these really long, bulky things, usually with a laser, and I decided I just didn't want to have any of those. I wanted something small and relatively subtle that's, just like a cybernetic eye, instead of a giant glowing scope sticking out of your face. And these metal eye patch things, when you combine it with the face plate, does kind of look like a cybernetic eye. Anyways, enough about costuming. Traits. This is a tutorial bridge officer. She's technically a green quality bridge officer because she has no superior traits. She also has no basic traits either, so, kind of 50-50. Does have physical strength, so and has the nerve pinch ability, which is a melee range clicky power. So this is someone that you wouldn't be bad off if you were to decide to build this character as a melee specialist. I didn't. I actually just gave her a disruptor rifle. That's a sniper rifle, too. She does have the Terran knife option, so if enemies do get in melee range, she will stab them with a Terran knife, which will work reasonably well for her. But I kind of sort of have her more as like a medical person, although she does have several things that are debuff related abilities. Now, is Damping Field 1 or Hyperonic Radiation 3 better? Good question. Actually, you know what? What do we have on these guys I can steal? Okay, that's Hyperonic Radiation 2, which I already have, and that's Hyperonic Radiation 2, which I already have. Vascular Regenerator and Stasis Field. Yeah, I don't want those. It's probably why they're in my inventory still. Is that I looked at them and decided, no, thank you. I don't want any of those skill manuals, so I'm not going to turn you into skill manual. Well, okay then. Now, as a solo bridge officer, I would consider this to be a pretty weak sauce skill setup, honestly. Why do I have Damping Field? It should be Hyperonic Radiation. Honestly, I think Damping Field is what she came with, and I think I tried changing it to Hyperonic Radiation. The game suddenly changed it back. That might actually be the reason why Slarg's team has 2 people with that stupid fake expose power where you turn invisible and then get a flanking damage bonus that bridge officers don't know how to use. That might actually be the reason why he had 2 characters using that. I didn't think about that particularly hard. Anyways, tricorder scan. Because it's an AoE, it is actually relatively useful. Because the way this tooltip is phrased doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Targets anything alive. Affects foe. 6 max. 30-meter range. 4.6 meter sphere. Which means up to 6 enemies within a 4.6 meter sphere that is targeted at a single specific enemy. So anyone within 4.6 meters, up to 5 of his friends, will be affected by this. That is actually pretty good. Bridge officers will often hit an instant level enemy with this, but as long as that instant level enemy is standing within 4.6 meters of someone else, it's going to hit more than one enemy. Tachyon Harmonic. Tachyon Harmonic is something that's less good. The knockback, don't care. Shield damage. Enemies that have shields, this will hurt quite a lot, honestly. It won't necessarily eliminate their shield, but it will do a hefty amount of damage to it, which is nice. The force field thing. Certain engineer powers are AoE buffs that create an energy bubble. That's not a turret, but it's a defensive area effect that's not centered on the... Okay, it's centered on the player that creates it, but it doesn't attach to them and follow them around. And that is what the destroys force fields thing is for. Only for a very, very specific kind of rarely seen energy dome effect that honestly isn't all that good. Yeah. I wish that ability was useful. It looks pretty cool. Anyways. And of course, medical tricorder, because really short recharge time, and the way that bridge officers can reflexively target this and players can't makes it much better in the hands of a bridge officer than a player. And that's a look at Naxaia's bridge officers. Naxaia has a pretty heavy offense thing. Like, yes, she summons pets a lot, but the majority of her build is energy weapon offense. So she does the whole thing. It's like machine gun everyone and summon pets to make sure everyone gets it. Dita. This is actually a pretty hefty amount of damage. The tooltip makes it seem like it's a debuff ability, but it's not. And it's kind of like a grenade that sometimes knocks your opponents down to prevent them from running away from it. Kind of nice, honestly. I don't normally use spec kit modules, but this is one that I would at least think about using. Now, the bridge officer ability, because it scales differently than the player ability, actually scales higher, which is weird, but it's a function of the fact that the bridge officer ability just scales to whatever their level is, and the player version is stuck at Mark 12 because you buy it from the Dilithium store and you can't upgrade it. See? You buy them at Mark 12, and they stay at Mark 12. Yeah. This character cannot buy any of them because this character has not ranked up her Intel specialization. Seriously, she's at 0 on Intel. Let's see here. I'm currently on this character using Miracle Worker, which I have maxed, and Pilot, which I have like 3 points in. I know, and not everyone likes improved attack patterns. I just like the temporary hit points. Anyways, back to looking for top systems. DeVrel, mostly this is one of those things where it's like science in Star Trek Online has a wide mix of things. Like there's direct offense, there's buff debuff things, and then there's heals. And honestly, for bridge officers, I don't like to give them exclusively one of them. So, hyperonic radiation, good offense ability. Tricorder scan, I mean, it's an enemy debuff that's not necessarily going to be used well, but it's an AoE, so there's a high chance your bridge officer will at least hit one thing that you want to hurt. And Tachyon Harmonic, which, whatever, it does something. The Shields Offline thing, while there's only a 12% chance of that, it's not as big of a deal as you would think, because unless it's a target that has like 2,000 shields, having their shields be knocked offline doesn't matter. And if it is, there's a high chance that they're going to have a giant stack of health, which might not last long enough for them to live, but you never know. So, again, this is a very mixed setup for a bridge officer. This also, team buffs, I mean, it's an offense and defense mix of buffs too. A defensive shield and an offensive mortar. Again, so it's a mix of offense and defense and buffs. This character is mostly about self-buffing. Although, let's see here. I think this actually does create an aura around you that has your allies receive the benefit of this. This is a self-buff, though. This, it's just direct damage. And yeah, I talked about this already. Anyway, so, moving on to a different character, because I've talked about this character a lot. So, Ben left. After the Delta Recruiter event came the Temporal